Marcus once told a dinner table full of friends that marrying me was like adopting a rescue dog, loyal, needy, and grateful for scraps. I smiled while gripping my fork so hard it bent. That night, I started writing everything down. Now his friends ghost him. And his therapist calls me courageous. The rescue dog grew fangs and Marcus is sleeping in the spare room, haunted by every whisper he ever mocked. Subscribe so you don't miss what's next. He brought flowers every Friday at first, called me queen like he meant it. When I cried at work, he said, "You're too emotional for that job anyway." I brushed it off, thinking love had moods. Sarah noticed I stopped wearing color. She joked I'd joined a cult, Grayscale Wives of Marcus. I laughed too hard. My journal became my lifeline. The one place his words couldn't rewrite my reality. Our honeymoon was perfect until he threw my phone off the balcony for texting Sarah. "You're mine now," he said, wrapping an arm around my waist like a leash. I told myself it was passion, not possession. Emma, his ex, had warned me. I called her crazy that night. I googled emotional abuse under the covers. The search history was cleared the next day. My voice started shrinking. The tank was already sealed. He forgot my birthday again. Said grown women don't need cake. I watched Sarah's Instagram story of her fiancé baking her one, and I cry in the bathroom. Marcus lit a protein bar under the door. "Eat this and stop crying." I bit it like defiance. My journal had 4 pages on that day. The tank was still, but I felt the first crack in the glass. Marcus posted a picture of me sleeping with the caption, "Dead fish wife vibes." His friends laughed. I stopped going out. Emma sent me screenshots of old texts he'd sent her. Same jokes, same captions. I'd been recycled. I confronted him. He blinked. "You're not that funny." Sarah said, "A girl, he's sick." I stayed quiet. The goldfish tank grew murkier. I fed them anyway because someone had to care. I wore red lipstick to a dinner party. He wiped it off with a napkin before we got out of the car. "Don't embarrass me," he whispered. I smiled all night with bare lips. Sarah noticed. Texted me under the table, "Blink twice if you need rescuing." I didn't blink, but the journal that night burned. I drew a goldfish with fangs. Even quiet fish dream of escape. Marcus said I overreacted when I cried watching a movie. "You're not normal," he muttered. I googled therapists. He said therapy was for the weak. I stopped mentioning emotions altogether. Sarah bought me a self-help book. He tossed it in the trash. "You need obedience, not Oprah." I retrieved it in the dark that night. I underlined a sentence, "Silence isn't peace, it's permission." The tank rattled slightly. So did I. He mocked Sarah's miscarriage over dinner. At least she didn't bring another mouth into the world. I dropped my fork. My stomach churned. Later, he said I had no sense of humor. I reread Emma's text she's left after he insulted her dead dog. There was a pattern. Cruelty masked as comedy. The journal filled faster. I bought a second one. The tank water darkened. I stopped cleaning it. On our anniversary, he gifted me a diet cookbook. "You'll thank me when you're hot again." I laughed too loudly. Then I packed my things. He called it a tantrum. I said nothing, just left the fish tank behind. 2 hours later I returned for one thing, my journals. Marcus stood shirtless, holding the tank. "You forgot your audience." He sneered. I took the notebooks, left the fish, let the silence answer him. He texted 36 times the first night. "You're dramatic. You'll be back." I blocked him. Sarah brought wine and candles. We lit them like armor. Emma called and cried. "You finally left." I didn't know I'd been holding my breath until then. That night, I dreamt of goldfish swimming in open sea. I woke up and opened a fresh journal. Page 1. No more tanks, no more silence, just truth. He sent flowers. I returned them, dead ones. He posted quotes about toxic women and lost loyalty. I posted nothing. Sarah said, "He's unraveling." Emma forwarded an email. He begged her back. She replied, "Not even in your next life." I laughed for real. I sent a group email to his friends, ask him about the fish, just that. No signature. Let them wonder. Let the tank haunt more than me. Marcus showed up at my door with his tank. "Take it, you ruined it." I told him to leave. He dumped it on my doorstep. I watched the fish flop on concrete. Gasping, I scooped one into a bowl, called animal control for the rest. The officer said, "You saved one." I nodded. "Not just the fish, me too." That night, I flushed the tank water down the drain, slow, intentional, free. He emailed, "You're nothing without me." I replied, "Watch me." Then I posted my story, every journal entry, redacted names. Within hours, my inbox exploded. Messages from strangers, "Same story, thank you." He did this too. I cried in Sarah's arms, not from pain but release. Emma started a support group I joined. We named it the Tank Breakers. We wore red lipstick to our first meeting. Together, we looked venom in the eye. Marcus tried to sue me for defamation, but I had screenshots, journal scans, witness messages. The judge dismissed it. His lawyer apologized quietly. Sarah high-fived me outside court. "You just tanked him," she said. The media picked it up. I declined interviews, but shared one line, "Silence breeds monsters." I chose noise. The group gained members daily. I framed the court document, hung it above the rescued fish. It flicked its tail unafraid. 3 ex-girlfriends emailed me within a week. Emma started it. Ashley sent videos. Lena had receipts, literal receipts for therapy sessions labeled Marcus damage. We created a shared folder. The archive patterns emerged. Same insults, same tactics, same fish analogies. Marcus had a script. We had a documentary, Sarah said. We could warn every future Delilah, Emma added, or bury him in his own words. I chose both. Awareness and accountability. Truth doesn't rot, it records. Jake, Marcus' estranged brother, messaged me. He did it to our mom too. I stopped breathing for a second. He shared childhood journals, pages of their mother crying, silent dinners, the fish tank origin. It wasn't just a metaphor, it was their mother's tank, inherited. Past abuse like an heirloom. Jake asked to join the archive. We said yes. Marcus wasn't original. He was legacy rot. We wouldn't just expose him, we'd end the lineage. Emma's video went viral. A compilation of Marcus quotes, followed by journal excerpts from all of us. No names, just voices. "You talk too much. No one else would love you. Dead fish don't argue." Comments exploded. "This is my ex, he said that too." Hashtag tankbreakers. Within hours, it trended. A radio host called. We said no. This wasn't about fame. It was about women who flushed silence and chose survival. Marcus moved cities, changed jobs, rebranded as a relationship coach. We found his site, stock photos, fake testimonials. He quoted himself, tough love saves marriages. I laughed so hard I snorted. Sarah emailed the company anonymously with a Dropbox link. 2 days later, the site vanished. Emma cheered, tank sunk. I updated the archive. He could hide, but the truth was archived, time-stamped and backed up forever. Narcissism has an expiration date with receipts. A woman DMs me I almost married him. She found our group through the hashtag. Her name was Tasha. Her story mirrored mine. Fish jokes. Emotional digs, sudden gifts. She broke up with him 2 weeks before their wedding. I thought I was crazy. I sent her a welcome message. You're sane, he's predictable. And you're safe now. She joined Tank Breakers. Her story became our newest archive file. Marcus' script have finally failed. Jake found their childhood fish tank in Marcus' storage unit. Cracked, algae stained, full of dust. He sent a picture. Thought you'd want closure? I printed it, framed it, and wrote beneath extinct habitat. Sarah gasped when she saw it. You're building a museum. I smiled. No more tanks, just artifacts. Reminders of what we escaped. We hung it at our next meeting. Survivors took selfies with it. History, not home. Witness, not warning. Marcus tried launching a podcast, Tough Love Chronicles. He made one episode. In it, he blamed soft women for weak marriages. Tank Breakers found it. Comments flooded, gaslighter vibes. We know this voice. Spotify removed it within a day for harassment. Sarah screenshot every review before it disappeared. Add it to the museum. She said we did. Audio hubris deleted, but documented. Marcus spoke his truth, and the world heard ours instead. Emma got invited to speak at a college panel on digital abuse. She asked me to co-host. I hesitated, then agreed. Standing at the mic, I read my first journal entry aloud. He called me needy. I called it love. The room went silent. A girl in the front row wiped her tears. Afterward, she whispered, "Thank you, I'm leaving mine tonight." That was the moment I knew stories unshared become cages. A journalist emailed us, want to turn the archive into a book. We debated. Emma said yes. Sarah was unsure. I said only if we owned every word. No edits, no softening, just truth. We called it Dead Fish Don't Lie. It sold out in 2 weeks. Tasha designed the cover, red lipstick smeared across a fishbowl. The dedication page read, for every woman who stayed too long and still got out. Marcus emailed from a new address. You win. Happy now? I didn't reply. Sarah said, he finally tasted consequence. I blocked him again. Jake said, let him spiral alone. The fish tank photo got framed again, this time in a domestic violence shelter. Underneath, a plaque, Tank Breakers began here. Women paused before it, reading. Some wept, some smiled. Legacy doesn't start with power, it starts when silence ends. Ours ended loudly. We hosted our first annual Tank Breakers retreat. Beachfront, no dress codes, no apologies. Workshops, therapy dogs, laughter so loud it scared seagulls. Each attendee brought a symbol of what they left behind: shoes, letters, a cracked phone. We built a sculpture from them, called it the exit. One woman whispered, I haven't laughed like this in years. Emma hugged her. You're not broken, you're rebuilding. We danced under stars, free, loud, unapologetic. A high school teacher reached out. Her students read Dead Fish Don't Lie in class. One girl reported her abusive stepfather after another started journaling. The teacher said, you're saving lives. I cried in my car, not from pain but purpose. Sarah said, every page mattered. Marcus was a chapter. We became the book. The archive expanded now with art, music, poetry. Truth didn't just live, it thrived. It passed on strength like oxygen. Sarah got married. She wore red lipstick and fish-shaped earrings. I gave the toast to women who rescued themselves. Marcus wasn't mentioned. He wasn't needed. Afterward, a guest asked about the earrings. Sarah winked. Inside joke, Emma smuggled cupcakes into the reception and labeled them emotional nourishment. We laughed till our stomachs hurt. Later that night, we added the earrings to the archive. Love wasn't lost. It was reborn, safe, honest, deliciously bold. Jake launched a podcast, Breaking the Tank. Each episode featured survivors, allies, even therapists. He asked me to be episode 1. I said yes. We didn't mention Marcus by name. We didn't need to. We talked healing, humor, and how silence is the worst roommate. Listeners sent notes. One said, your laughter healed more than your pain ever hurt. I printed that and taped it above my desk. The fish swims beside it. Tasha met someone new, kind, curious, no tank metaphors. She hesitated at first, then invited into a group meeting. He brought snacks. He listened. He asked, how can I help? No ego, just presence. We called him a lighthouse. Later, Tasha whispered, I didn't know men like this existed. I replied, neither did I, but we're not living in his world anymore. She smiled. The archive got a new folder, Hope, the last journal entry I ever wrote. I am not broken. I was bent by someone who feared my shape. Then I closed the book permanently. The archive became my voice, now shared, echoed, empowered. No more tanks, no more quiet. I gave the journal to a museum for survivors. They framed it, opened to page 1. Beneath it, a plaque read, she wrote, we ward. And the fish still swimming. I stood in my new apartment. No tank, no echoes, just plants, books, sunlight. The fish I saved swam lazy circles beside me. I whispered, we made it. My voice didn't tremble. I wore red lipstick without asking. Sarah called, you free for tacos? I smiled. This was life simple, loud, mine. I kissed the goldfish bowl like a crown. We weren't survivors anymore. We were storytellers, and our silence had retired permanently. Sometimes I reread my old journals, not for pain but proof that I grew. Spoke, broke free. The handwriting shifts, small, scared, then bolder, furious, fierce. I added a final note. She found her war. Emma called me a lighthouse. Sarah said I'm the fish who jump bowls. Jake sent a meme, tank broken girl, unstoppable. I laughed. Even when healing aches, we swim forward. Always, that's our legacy. Not the wounds, the waves we made. Marcus lives alone now. His reputation's a cautionary tale. His podcast gone, his tank dry. He blames the world. But no one's listening. I sent him nothing. Not hate, not forgiveness, just absence. Silence isn't submission, it's power when chosen. And I chose peace. The tank didn't break me. I outgrew it. Now I breathe in oceans. Loud, fast, unapologetically mine. The archive is now a nonprofit. We fund shelters, publish survivor stories, and teach young girls how to spot red flags. Tasha runs workshops. Emma oversees outreach. Sarah bakes cookies for every meeting. And me, I smile, I speak. I wear red lipstick without fear. We're not just survivors. We're sirens loud. Free, singing truth into every space once filled with silence. Thanks for watching. Hit subscribe to check out more stories on my channel.